Welcome to This is Mizuho, where we interview our very own colleagues and thought leaders at the firm. I'm your host, Casey Waltz, and in honor of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, we're joined here by a distinguished panel of women, Diane Ferguson, Natalee Graham, Sarah Keynes, and Noriko Ito, all of whom are senior leaders within Mizuho. So thanks everyone for joining me today. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
to
you.
be here.
Glad to be here.
So let's get right to it. Diane, you co-founded the Women's Network at Mizuho. Talk to me about your vision and how it came to fruition and why having such a network is so important.
So the Women's Network has been around for about 4 years, and my vision in that network had everything to do with awareness. I believe that we are more similar than we are different. And when people have an opportunity to express their differences and how they see things, then there's greater understanding, and actually we get better results. Because my belief is that diversity actually helps our bottom line, and that for a bank, it's extremely important that we always optimize what our commercial outcome is.
Sarah, you now serve as co-chair of the network. Talk to me about what your key focus areas are and themes for the year.
Absolutely. Well, it's been great to work off of the foundation that Diane and Cheryl set when they set up the network. And along with Leslie and Lindsay, we've been focusing on building out the tracks of the original network and adding as well. We have a really diverse group of women at Mizuho with different needs, different levels of seniority, and we're really focusing on serving the specific constituencies within the network.
You all have spent most, if not all, of your careers working in financial services, which is an industry that has been historically male-dominated. What does it mean to be a woman working in finance today compared to when you first began? Natalee, let's start with you.
Sure. For me, it really goes back to representation. I started my first internship back in the 90s, and there really weren't a lot of women that were present in the space. And at that time, your awareness wasn't as peaked as an intern. You're there to learn and to take in as much as you can. But as you get further in your career, you do realize that that representation matters. You want to see examples of what you can do and where you can strive to and what you can become in the particular field that you're in. And so as I grew in my career and went from different banks along the way, there are some changes that I noticed. One in particular coming to today is that there are a lot of younger women that are taking on more management responsibilities. And that wasn't something that I saw initially from the 90s. So I think companies are beginning to realize that there is strength and commitment from a lot of the women that are in their firm. And when you respond to that, you're given something so great that they really will help you bring forward your mission.
That's a really good, interesting point because, you know, when I first joined Mizuho as a fresh grad in Japan, the percentage of women representing the, managerial track jobs were just 6%, and now it's 36%. So I think it's really exciting to see that much, absolute presentation of the population there. And, a lot of the large consulting firms have said that the greater diversity, they perform better than less diverse peers.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you have the numbers on that. We're keeping track of it. And is there a pivotal point in your career that really stands out?
So I think it was my posting to Hong Kong, which was actually my first overseas assignment. And, there I saw even more women holding managerial jobs, both within Mizuho as well as outside. And I think, being in that diverse environment actually instilled in me some sort of feeling to not shy away from taking on the lead.
Last question for everyone. The last election saw a record number of women elected into Congress, and this year's Oscars saw a record number of women winning awards. Complete this sentence. The next headline that I'd like to see is a record number of women fill in the blank. Diane?
Sure. A record number of women on as board of directors of major companies, as well as on those companies' senior executive management committee. So more women leadership.
Natalee?
I would say I'd like to see more women judges.
Great. Sarah?
I would say a higher representation of women as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Right now, I think the statistic is only 5%, and we'd love to see that number be higher.
Great. Noriko?
I also echo Diane. Actually, I would like to see more number of women in executive roles. Right now, if you look at the OECD list, US ranks 23rd, Japan ranks 27th. And if we have more representation of women in the workforce, it's said that we can raise like $6 trillion. So hopefully we hope to see that much more representation in the future.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. For more insights on Mizuho, you can visit us at mizuhoamericas.com, and you can also visit us on social media. Check us out on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for tuning in.